and today I'll be going over my book haul from my favorite bookstore, Powell's. So I think the way I want to go about this is to start somewhat chronologically with the book I picked up first and just go through all of the books I bought. I spent way too much money, but Powell's is incredible. I guess if you're not from kind of Washington, Idaho, Oregon, you might have not heard of Powell's, but it is an incredible bookstore in Portland, Oregon, and it is gigantic. It takes up like a couple city blocks. Like, it is huge. It is incredible. I love it so much. They are the same bookstore that did the subscription book service that I was a part of for a couple months there. So I do have some previous videos that are Powell's inspired. With that kind of preamble, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first book I will be talking about, I actually didn't pick up, but my boyfriend did. It is American Republic, A Continental History of the United States, 1783 to 1850. So my boyfriend isn't much of a reader, but he is a really big history buff, so he saw this and asked me to buy it for him, and I am a sucker for buying books. I will buy anybody a book who asks me to do so. So it's a chunky boy. It's a big book, so I will be surprised if he gets through this in the next year. But it's actually written by a historian, so it's a pretty solid history book, it seems, and it's all kind of Civil War. So I don't know, I think I will be interested to hear little snippets of this book. I don't think I will be reading it anytime soon because I am not a big history book person. The next book I picked up was actually kind of a funny story. So I was in the adult mystery thriller section and a woman was looking at the Dan Brown books and she picked one up and audibly exclaimed, "Oh, I've already read this one." Having heard that in my little bookworm brain, I was like, I can help this lady out. So I directed her over to James Rowland's, said he does pretty similar kind of science, history, blending, mystery, thriller sort of blockbuster books. So she said thank you and went over there, and I saw her later carrying around Sandstorm, the first book that James Rowland wrote for his Sigma 4 series. So I decided to also buy a copy of Sandstorm by James Rowland to kind of commemorate that moment. And I've also been wanting to pick up a copy of the whole series for myself. My dad has all of the paperbacks, but I mean, I saw that they had a hardback and I have the new ones in hardback, so I thought it might be fun to get a hardback and try to collect all the hardbacks in the Sigma 4 series, so I picked that up. The next book I picked up was from the fantasy section that I wandered my way over to after the mystery thriller, and that is Unnatural Magic. The cover kind of stood out to me. I don't know, like, I almost find it overwhelming to shop in bookstores now, especially one as big as Powell's, because there's just, you can't look at everything. And I've just been getting so used to getting like recommendations off of BookTube and BookTwitter, I kind of forgot how to shop for books. So I saw this cover, thought it was really pretty, read the back, and I thought it sounded really interesting. It is a young woman who goes to a bigger city to study magic in this university, and there's also a troll who is looking for work in a human city. I don't know, it's got dark academia vibes a little bit, but also kind of, I don't know, there's a gun and a knife on the cover. I'm not gonna lie, I mostly just bought this for the cover, but I think it sounds pretty cool and I'm excited to check it out at some point. The next one I picked up was also a fantasy pick, and I was also very intrigued by the cover, and that is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. Intrigued by the cover, read the back, thought it sounded really interesting. It's a short synopsis, so I'll just go ahead and read it. Yetu holds the memories of her people. Her people, the Wajinru, descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slave owners, live idyllic lives in the deep. Their past, too painful to be remembered regularly, is forgotten by everyone save one. The memories, harrowing and wonderful, traumatic and terrible, are destroying Yetu, and so she flees to the surface, escaping her expectations and responsibilities, and discovers a world the Wajinru left behind long ago. Inspired by the hit song by Clipping, The Deep will resonate long after the last page is turned. So it kind of sounds like a little bit of like The Giver with like the whole memory situation, but also like The Siren, which I don't think is like an apt like comparison to make, because I think this is going to be much more well written than like a trashy YA romance. But it just kind of gave me like the vibes of these women, you know, living under the water away from humans and then having to interact with humans, and I just thought that sounded really cool, and I am very excited about this one. Plus it's short, so like I love me a short little novella. So after I got those 4 books, I decided to leave Powell's because I was there with a big group of people, and so I was like, I gotta meet up with my people. So then I left the store, went across the street to a store where some of my friends were shopping, and then my boyfriend and one of his friends decided they want to go get a haircut and told me to go back to Powell's, and I was like, you don't have to tell me twice. So I went back into the store and bought 4 more books. Starting with 6 Crimson Cranes. This is the January pick for the Shelf This Book Club, so since I saw it there, I figured I might as well just get it while I was thinking about it. I don't know what it's about, but it's a very pretty cover, and I've heard somewhat good things about it. Have I heard good things? I've heard people mention this in their TBR, but I don't know if I've actually watched like a wrap-up or review or anything of someone who's actually read this, but there seems to be some hype about it on BookTube, so I'm excited to read this, and of course I love reading stuff for our book club because it's always fun to discuss it afterwards. The next book I picked up after that was Under the Whispering Door. This one I definitely picked up for hype. I have heard many people talk about this book and how much they love it and how great it is, and I've heard a little bit about the story, something about falling in love with the ferryman after death. So that sounds super dope. I know TJ Klune has, you know, tons of love for House of the Cerulean Sea, and I think this one has equally as much love. So I am excited to pick this up, and I've heard, like I said, so much about it. The next book I picked up was Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, and this is, he also wrote All the Light We Cannot See, which I believe is like a World War II historical fiction, if I can remember correctly. I don't know, I don't remember. But this is another one I've seen everywhere, and I actually saw it the first time I was at Powell's and on the end cap, and I almost thought about picking it up, and then I saw it's very chunky and I got scared. But then I saw it again when I went back and decided to open it up and look at the synopsis. That's the word I'm looking for. And I knew it had been set in Constantinople, which was very intriguing to me, but not intriguing enough to like commit to chunky book. But then I saw it's also set in a small town in present-day Idaho, and then I shut the book and put it in my bag to go buy it, because if your book is set in Idaho, I'm gonna read it. Like, that's the rule that we follow here. If the book is in Idaho, the book will be read. So I'm excited to check this out. I mean, I have seen a lot of hype. I was very intimidated by this, but I'm just gonna give myself, you know, some time, maybe in the new year, start off with a big chunky book and see what's in store for me here. I mean, I do love the cover. The cover is beautiful, and it's got like that very textured, very nice, it's a very nice book. And finally, this last one was a bit of an impulse buy, but who am I kidding? This whole haul was a bit of an impulse. But that is Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. It was up right at the front. So as I was going back to buy my second round of books, I saw this one. I've never read any Neil Gaiman, but I am a big mythology fan, and my Norse mythology is definitely not as good as it could be. So it would be nice to kind of study up on that a little bit and get, you know, a little bit better education on Norse mythology, because I do think it would be really cool to kind of tap into that. There is quite a bit of Norwegian heritage in my family, so it'd be cool to kind of get some of that culture passed down. So yes, that is the last one. My camera's dying, so let's get one final shot of all of these books. I spent way too much money, but you know what? We only live once, and can't take it with you, so you might as well buy a lot of books. That is not sound financial advice, but we're gonna go with it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.